means to me. You may
Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Karate Kid, Legends unfolds with Kaido rising before dawn, the city's faint glow seeping through the dojo windows. The polished floor gleams under his practiced movements as he begins a series of warm-up sequences, each motion precise, deliberate, and meditative. Daniel watches silently, the corners of his mouth hinting at quiet pride, knowing that Kaido's mastery of both mind and body is beginning to reflect ethical awareness as much as physical skill. Each kata, each stance, and each practice strike is infused with intention, a dialogue between breath, balance, and the consciousness that guides every decision. The air is still, heavy with potential, as the morning promises challenges, learning, and subtle philosophical insight. Kaido moves into the city streets, carrying the dojo's lessons with him like an invisible armor of awareness. Minor incidents, a fallen fruit cart, a heated argument between street vendors, a child chasing a stray ball into traffic, become exercises in timing, observation, and ethical intervention. Each interaction demonstrates his ability to harmonize martial skill with restraint and thoughtful judgment. Daniel observes from the background, satisfied that the teachings of Miyagi-Do have begun to manifest in real-world application, showing that mastery extends beyond the dojo and into the everyday flow of life. Sora, hidden in the shadows atop a nearby rooftop, studies Kaido's every move with a mixture of intrigue and unease. He recalls the rigid training under Ryuga Tanaka and wonders if precision alone defines mastery. Observing Kaido's calm, decisive action sparks reflection, planting seeds of internal conflict. Questions arise: can a martial artist possess power without conscience? Can restraint and awareness outweigh strict obedience and aggression? He begins testing subtle variations in his own movements, cautiously experimenting with flexibility, restraint, and ethical judgment, though uncertainty lingers in every attempt. At the dojo, Kaido begins a rigorous session of kata sequences that integrate fluidity, timing, and intentional ethical awareness. Daniel watches, occasionally offering anecdotes from his own training under Mr. Miyagi, revealing hidden lessons within repetition, patience, and mindfulness. Kaido internalizes each subtle correction, aware that mastery is not merely a destination but an ongoing, living process of growth. Students observe, not only learning technique but absorbing the philosophical foundations that define the heart of Miyagi-Do, witnessing how physical skill is inseparable from moral and mental discipline. The city becomes an extended training ground. Kaido intervenes in a minor scuffle between adolescents with careful words and precise positioning, demonstrating the principles of balance, timing, and non-violent resolution. Observers, unaware of the depth of his skill, see only the calm authority and fluid movements of a disciplined martial artist. Daniel notes that these moments are vital, showing Kaido's ability to integrate philosophy, ethics, and skill in unpredictable real-world scenarios, reinforcing that true mastery encompasses the entirety of life, not merely combat. Sora experiments in parallel, cautiously integrating ethical judgment into his otherwise rigid technique. Early attempts are tentative, occasionally faltering, yet he gradually perceives the power of awareness, flexibility, and conscious decision-making. Observing Kaido's example reinforces his evolving understanding of martial arts philosophy. Technical precision is vital, but adaptability, observation, and moral integrity complete the path to mastery. Each experiment teaches him humility, reflection, and the potential for growth beyond obedience and structure. Evening descends upon the dojo as Kaido practices advanced sequences alone. Each movement is deliberate, flowing seamlessly into the next, carrying not only physical technique but intention and ethical insight. Daniel sits quietly nearby, offering gentle guidance when necessary, emphasizing that growth arises as much from reflection as from repetition. The harmony of mind, body, and conscience becomes more pronounced with each session, illustrating the integration of philosophy, awareness, and skill into every motion, thought, and decision. The city streets remain alive with subtle lessons. Kaido observes interactions among citizens, using awareness, timing, and composure to navigate minor challenges with ethical precision. Each choice reinforces the principle that martial arts is as much about influencing outcomes thoughtfully as it is about physical prowess. Daniel's quiet observation reaffirms that Kaido's training has matured beyond mere skill, reflecting the true spirit of Miyagi-Do in both action and presence. Sora experiences subtle breakthroughs as he applies newly learned principles of restraint and observation to minor conflicts around the city. He begins to see that ethical judgment, composure, and adaptability are essential complements to technical skill. The shift is slow but noticeable, highlighting that growth in martial arts is a continuous process of experimentation, reflection, and conscious integration of mind, body, and conscience. Returning to the dojo at night, Kaido engages in meditative reflection, reviewing every interaction, movement, and choice made throughout the day. Each moment reinforces the philosophy of holistic mastery, demonstrating that martial arts are inseparable from awareness, ethical reasoning, and composure. Daniel smiles quietly, recognizing that Kaido's understanding of Miyagi-Do has evolved from technical training into a lived philosophy, embodied in every action, interaction, and decision. Kaido begins the next morning with a quiet stretch, the sun spilling through the dojo windows in warm golden streaks. Every movement feels deliberate, each breath synchronized with motion, forming a rhythm of awareness that merges body, mind, and spirit. Daniel observes from the corner, silently acknowledging the subtle growth in Kaido's composure and ethical integration. Today's practice is different, less about repetition and more about exploration. Kaido experiments with adjusting stances, blending speed with control, and testing how fluidity can coexist with precision. Each motion becomes both lesson and reflection, a meditation in action, a silent dialogue between skill and conscience. The streets outside the dojo hum with life, presenting new tests of timing, observation, and judgment. A small dispute over a vendor's stall threatens escalation. Kaido approaches, calm and measured, using both voice and posture to guide resolution without force. Pedestrians glance momentarily, sensing authority and composure. Each movement and word is an embodiment of the principles Daniel instilled: awareness, ethical application, and adaptive strategy. The city becomes a living dojo, and every interaction, from the mundane to the tense, is a chance to practice mastery beyond combat. Sora watches from an alley, his posture tense as he analyzes Kaido's every move. The calm authority, the controlled interventions, the seamless integration of moral awareness with skill, it all challenges the rigid doctrines of Ryuga Tanaka. Questions linger in his mind: is obedience alone sufficient? Can power truly exist without conscience? Hesitantly, Sora tests restraint, observation, and adaptive movement in his own practice. Early attempts are imperfect, yet the seeds of transformation have been planted. He begins to recognize that true mastery may require a fusion of technique, ethics, and mindful awareness. Back in the dojo, Kaido trains younger students in advanced kata sequences. His instructions emphasize observation, timing, and ethical application, not just the mechanics of strikes and blocks. Daniel watches silently, seeing the ripple effect of mentorship in motion. Students respond to the example as much as the instruction, learning that mastery is not measured by force but by composure, awareness, and conscious action. The dojo itself seems alive with energy and insight, a crucible where philosophical depth and physical discipline intersect seamlessly. The afternoon sun casts long shadows as Kaido navigates a busy market. A child runs into a congested street chasing a stray ball, and Kaido intercepts instinctively, his movements fluid and precise. Nearby, two merchants argue over a spilled crate, tension rising with each word. Kaido steps in, not with aggression but with calm authority, diffusing the situation and guiding outcomes with ethical awareness. Daniel notes that these real-world applications of training are as crucial as any kata or sparring session. True mastery requires integration of mind, body, and conscience in unpredictable environments. Sora experiments with similar real-world applications, though with hesitation and occasional misjudgment. He integrates restraint, observation, and adaptive movement, slowly bridging the gap between technical skill and ethical practice. Each small success reinforces his philosophical evolution, showing that growth is gradual, cumulative, and shaped by experience as much as instruction. Observing Kaido's example repeatedly emphasizes the power of mentorship through demonstration rather than enforcement. Evening falls over the city as Kaido returns to the dojo. He practices meditative sequences, combining movement with mindful reflection. Each kata flows naturally into the next, and every stance carries philosophical intention. Daniel sits quietly, offering occasional guidance or stories from his own experiences, reinforcing that mastery is as much about reflection and insight as it is about action. The dojo glows in the last light of day, a sanctuary for both physical discipline and ethical growth. The following morning, Kaido and Daniel embark on outdoor training, exploring uneven terrain to refine balance, adaptability, and awareness. Trees sway in the wind, uneven ground challenges footing, and natural obstacles demand conscious decision-making in each movement. Kaido practices flowing techniques while maintaining ethical awareness of his environment, integrating body, mind, and situational insight. Daniel observes silently, recognizing the importance of teaching adaptability alongside skill and philosophy, ensuring Kaido's mastery remains holistic. Sora attempts to shadow Kaido in his outdoor training, curious yet cautious. Each movement tests his ability to integrate flexibility, awareness, and ethical judgment. Hesitation and internal conflict surface, yet with each attempt, Sora grows subtly more capable, internalizing the importance of conscious adaptation. Observing Kaido's effortless integration of skill and philosophy sparks insight, challenging him to evolve beyond rigid structure into fluid, mindful mastery. Back in the city streets, Kaido continues to apply his philosophy in minor conflicts and tense interactions. Each small victory, whether defusing a dispute or helping an individual, becomes a lesson in applied martial arts, emphasizing composure, awareness, and moral clarity. Daniel smiles quietly, noting that Kaido's influence extends beyond the dojo into the community, where ethical action and physical mastery converge in everyday life. Sora begins testing interventions in the city, applying restraint, observation, and adaptive movements in subtle situations. Early hesitations and miscalculations serve as lessons, highlighting the challenge of translating theoretical knowledge into practice. Each successful intervention reinforces his understanding that ethical awareness and mindfulness are as vital as technique, slowly reshaping his approach to martial arts. Evening returns to the dojo. Kaido leads advanced training, demonstrating complex sequences that integrate fluidity, observation, and philosophical insight. Students follow attentively, mirroring not just the movements but the intentionality behind them. Daniel notes the growing influence of Kaido's leadership, technique, philosophy, and ethical instruction now operate seamlessly, cultivating students' awareness as well as skill. Kaido reflects privately on the day's lessons, reviewing minor conflicts, training sequences, and observations. Each moment reinforces the holistic approach to mastery, mind, body, and conscience working in harmony. He recognizes that growth is continuous, lessons arise in every interaction, and true martial arts mastery requires vigilance, ethical grounding, and mindfulness at all times. Sora continues his evolution, practicing both within the dojo and among the city streets. Each attempt to integrate ethical awareness with technical skill strengthens his judgment and composure. Subtle successes build confidence, while mistakes become learning opportunities, reinforcing the central theme that mastery is an ongoing journey shaped by reflection, observation, and ethical action. Kaido engages in one-on-one mentorship with younger students, focusing on integrating awareness and ethical decision-making into physical training. Each correction emphasizes balance, timing, and moral judgment. Daniel observes silently, impressed by Kaido's ability to cultivate both technical proficiency and philosophical insight simultaneously. The dojo thrives as a space where skill and character develop in unison. A minor confrontation arises in the marketplace, and Kaido intervenes effortlessly. Timing, observation, and ethical judgment guide each action. The conflict resolves peacefully, leaving observers unaware of the subtle mastery at play. Daniel notes that real-world application tests the integration of philosophy and skill more than kata ever could, highlighting the necessity of ethical awareness in all actions. Sora experiments alongside Kaido, learning to anticipate human behavior, regulate movement, and apply restraint. Each success reinforces the transformative effect of observation and ethical mindfulness. Hesitation persists, but incremental growth reveals the evolving depth of his martial arts journey, emphasizing that mentorship and example are as powerful as direct instruction. Karate Kid, Legends moves into a quiet morning where Kaido rises with the soft glow of dawn spilling across the dojo floor. His movements are deliberate, every stretch, stance, and rotation a meditation in motion. Daniel observes quietly, recognizing the integration of awareness, ethical judgment, and technical mastery in each deliberate gesture. Today, Kaido focuses on fluidity, how transitions between strikes and blocks can embody both precision and philosophical insight. Every kata, every footstep, and every breath becomes an exploration of the harmony between body, mind, and conscience. Kaido ventures into the city streets, where minor disturbances test his composure and judgment. A vendor disputes payment with a passerby, tensions escalating quickly. Kaido steps in with calm authority, using posture, timing, and carefully chosen words to diffuse the situation without resorting to aggression. Pedestrians glance briefly, sensing mastery in action though unaware of the principles at play. Each resolved incident reinforces Daniel's teachings that true martial arts mastery extends beyond combat, it is expressed in awareness, ethical intervention, and composed influence. Sora watches from the shadows, noting Kaido's effortless composure and measured movements. He recalls the rigid, obedience-driven training with Ryuga Tanaka and begins questioning his own path. Is precision alone sufficient? Can mastery exist without awareness and ethical grounding? Tentatively, Sora experiments with restraint, observation, and adaptation in his own movements, testing the limits of his training. Early missteps occur, yet they become valuable lessons, illustrating that growth in martial arts arises not just from technique but from reflection and mindful application. Inside the dojo, Kaido leads advanced kata sequences, emphasizing awareness, timing, and ethical integration. Daniel observes silently, occasionally offering stories from his own early training under Mr. Miyagi. Each correction, each anecdote, reinforces the idea that mastery is a continuous journey, blending skill, observation, and ethical reasoning. Students follow diligently, absorbing not just the mechanics of movement but the intention and philosophy behind each action, learning that martial arts cultivate both character and body. The city's rhythm offers ongoing lessons. Kaido assists a child who wanders into the path of a moving cart, intervening swiftly yet calmly. Nearby, a verbal confrontation between two merchants threatens escalation. Kaido's intervention, subtle, precise, and ethically guided, resolves both conflicts without physical force. Daniel notes that these real-world scenarios are tests of composure, judgment, and mindfulness, demonstrating that mastery is lived in the world, not just performed in the dojo. Sora experiments with similar interventions, though his timing and judgment are not yet fully refined. He begins to see that awareness, restraint, and ethical application are as vital as technical skill. Every success, however minor, reinforces the growing integration of philosophy and practice in his movements. Observation of Kaido's calm and controlled presence motivates him to continue refining both thought and action, highlighting the transformative power of mentorship through example. Evening falls, and Kaido returns to the dojo for meditative training. Movements flow seamlessly from one to another, each infused with purpose, awareness, and ethical insight. Daniel watches silently, offering guidance only when necessary, letting Kaido internalize lessons through experience and reflection. The dojo, bathed in the glow of fading sunlight, becomes a sanctuary where philosophical principles and technical mastery converge. Kaido begins outdoor training, navigating uneven terrain to test balance, adaptability, and awareness. Trees, rocks, and slopes challenge each stance and movement, requiring constant observation and adjustment. Kaido blends fluidity with precision, adapting to the environment while maintaining ethical awareness. Daniel observes silently, impressed by Kaido's ability to integrate technique, mindfulness, and moral judgment in every motion, reinforcing the holistic nature of mastery. Sora shadows Kaido, cautiously attempting to apply similar principles. Hesitation surfaces as he adapts to unpredictable terrain, yet incremental successes encourage further experimentation. Each minor misstep becomes an opportunity for reflection, reinforcing the importance of patience, observation, and mindful adaptation in martial arts. Sora's philosophical and technical growth is subtle but undeniable, reflecting the narrative's emphasis on mentorship, example, and ethical integration. Back in the dojo, Kaido trains younger students, emphasizing ethical decision-making alongside technical mastery. Corrections focus on awareness, timing, and intentionality. Daniel observes quietly, pleased that the teachings of Miyagi-Do are spreading beyond mere technique. Students absorb lessons not just physically but mentally, learning that composure, ethical awareness, and adaptability are central to true martial arts mastery. The city continues to provide unexpected lessons. Kaido encounters a dispute between street performers, resolving tension through calm intervention and precise observation. His actions demonstrate the seamless integration of skill, awareness, and ethical decision-making. Daniel notes that these practical applications of training validate the holistic approach. Martial arts are lived through every interaction, every choice, and every observed consequence. Sora experiments with similar urban scenarios, testing restraint, observation, and timing in dynamic situations. Each success reinforces the interplay between technical skill and philosophical insight. Hesitations occur, yet they foster reflection and growth, emphasizing that mastery is an ongoing, evolving process that combines practice with mindfulness. Evening training resumes in the dojo. Kaido practices fluid kata sequences while Daniel offers minimal guidance, allowing Kaido to internalize lessons through movement and reflection. Every strike, block, and transition carries intention, blending physical precision with awareness, ethical judgment, and mental clarity. Students watch, absorbing not only technique but the principles underlying each action. The following morning, Kaido ventures into crowded streets to observe human behavior and refine applied awareness. Minor conflicts, a falling cart, a verbal argument, serve as live tests of timing, composure, and ethical intervention. Kaido navigates each situation with precision and calm authority, demonstrating that true mastery integrates moral reasoning with martial skill. Daniel silently affirms that Kaido's training has matured into practical, real-world application. Sora observes Kaido's urban interventions, reflecting on the limits of rigid obedience-driven training. He attempts similar actions, experimenting with ethical application and mindful observation. Early miscalculations provide lessons, highlighting that philosophical integration is essential to skillful action. Gradually, Sora internalizes the principle that awareness, ethics, and adaptability are indispensable components of true mastery. At the dojo, Kaido trains students through sequences emphasizing conscious decision-making, composure, and ethical application. Daniel watches with quiet pride as physical skill and philosophical awareness converge seamlessly in both Kaido and his pupils. Each correction emphasizes intentionality and reflection, reinforcing the narrative's core message that martial arts develop both character and competence. A minor conflict arises in the marketplace, testing Kaido's real-world application of principles. Through precise timing, calm posture, and measured speech, he diffuses tension without escalation. Daniel notes that these situations are more demanding than kata, requiring judgment, composure, and ethical clarity. The interplay between observation, awareness, and action demonstrates that mastery is lived, not just performed. Sora continues experimenting with ethical and mindful interventions, learning through observation and practice. Each encounter teaches him humility, patience, and insight. Incremental progress underscores the narrative's theme. True martial arts mastery is a balance of technical skill, ethical judgment, and reflective awareness. Kaido ends the day with meditative kata practice, reviewing each interaction, movement, and reflection. Every stance embodies a synthesis of skill, awareness, and ethical insight. Daniel offers only occasional guidance, allowing Kaido to internalize lessons through personal experience. The dojo glows with the final light of day, a space where philosophy, skill, and conscience converge harmoniously. Karate Kid, Legends continues with Kaido rising before dawn, the first light spilling across the dojo floor. His breath is measured, each movement deliberate, a meditation in motion that links body, mind, and spirit. Daniel watches from the corner, silently noting the subtle integration of awareness, ethical judgment, and technical mastery in every gesture. Today's focus is flow, how transitions between stances and strikes can embody both precision and ethical intention. Every kata, every shift in weight, and every breath is a reflection on harmony, balance, and conscious choice. The air is thick with the promise of growth, of lessons waiting to be discovered in both practice and observation. Kaido ventures into the city, where the streets teem with subtle tests. A dropped basket threatens chaos among nearby pedestrians. Calmly, he moves, anticipating reactions and intervening with precise timing and measured words. Nearby, a heated argument escalates between two vendors over a misunderstanding. Kaido's presence, composed yet assertive, diffuses tension. Daniel observes silently, recognizing that real-world applications of training often demand more than technique, they require awareness, patience, and ethical discernment. Every resolved incident demonstrates that mastery is both internal and external, lived in the rhythm of everyday life. Sora, hidden atop a distant rooftop, watches Kaido's interventions with a mixture of curiosity and unease. His training under Ryuga Tanaka emphasized obedience, precision, and control, but what he observes in Kaido challenges everything he has known. Questions surface: can skill exist without moral awareness? Can restraint and observation surpass brute power? Tentatively, Sora experiments with adaptive movements and restraint in his own practice. Early missteps occur, yet they become valuable lessons, illustrating the slow, cumulative process of growth through reflection and mindful application. Back at the dojo, Kaido trains the younger students, guiding them through complex sequences with emphasis on awareness, timing, and ethical integration. Daniel watches quietly, noting the ripple effect of mentorship on the dojo floor. The students absorb lessons not just in movement but in intention and ethical reasoning. Kaido's corrections focus on anticipation, observation, and deliberate action, ensuring that the principles of Miyagi-Do extend beyond mere physicality into moral and philosophical grounding. The city streets become a living classroom for Kaido. A child runs into traffic chasing a stray ball, and Kaido intercepts instinctively, blending speed, observation, and calm authority. Nearby, merchants argue, their voices rising with tension. Kaido intervenes with measured words and deliberate positioning, resolving conflict peacefully. Daniel notes that these urban interactions are vital tests of applied mastery, where composure, ethical awareness, and timing are just as important as physical skill. The lessons of the dojo extend into the world, shaping both behavior and consciousness. Sora experiments alongside Kaido, though with occasional hesitation. He integrates restraint, observation, and ethical judgment, gradually bridging the gap between technical skill and conscious application. Each minor success reinforces philosophical understanding, while mistakes provide insight into limitations and areas for growth. Observing Kaido repeatedly reinforces the transformative power of mentorship, where example outweighs instruction, and reflection guides development. Evening descends upon the dojo, casting long shadows across the wooden floor. Kaido practices fluid kata sequences, allowing movements to flow naturally, each strike and block infused with deliberate intention and ethical insight. Daniel observes quietly, offering guidance only when necessary, emphasizing that mastery is not just learned through repetition, but internalized through reflection, awareness, and conscious decision-making. The dojo radiates calm, a space where physical discipline and philosophical development converge seamlessly. The following morning, Kaido moves outdoors to practice balance and adaptability on uneven terrain. Slopes, rocks, and swaying branches challenge stability, requiring continuous observation and adjustment. Kaido blends precision with fluidity, responding ethically and thoughtfully to the environment. Daniel observes, silently acknowledging Kaido's integration of skill, mindfulness, and ethical awareness in every step. Training here emphasizes the principle that martial arts mastery encompasses adaptability as well as technical competence. Sora shadows Kaido, cautiously attempting to emulate his fluid awareness. Each movement tests adaptability, patience, and conscious application. Hesitations are frequent, yet successes build confidence and insight. Observing Kaido repeatedly reinforces that mastery is not about brute strength or rigid obedience, but conscious integration of technique, observation, and ethical judgment. Growth is incremental, cumulative, and guided by reflection. Kaido returns to the dojo to train younger students, emphasizing the interplay between awareness, ethical judgment, and technical precision. Daniel observes silently, recognizing that teaching has become as much about cultivating character as skill. The dojo is alive with focused energy, where the body, mind, and conscience are nurtured simultaneously. Each correction Kaido provides reinforces not only movement but intention and moral grounding. In the city, minor disputes provide ongoing tests. Kaido intervenes in a heated exchange between street performers with precise timing, calm posture, and measured speech. The conflict resolves peacefully, unnoticed by casual observers. Daniel notes that these interventions are as crucial as formal kata, demanding judgment, composure, and ethical insight. Martial arts mastery, he reflects, is lived in every encounter, subtle yet profound. Sora applies similar principles, cautiously testing restraint, observation, and timing in real-world situations. Minor mistakes provide lessons, while successes reinforce the value of mindful application. The ongoing process highlights the narrative's central theme: mastery is holistic, integrating skill, ethics, and awareness. Incremental growth, shaped by both observation and experience, becomes the measure of true progress. Evening returns to the dojo. Kaido practices alone, flowing through sequences that blend awareness, ethical application, and fluid technique. Each stance, strike, and transition carries intentionality, reinforcing the integration of body, mind, and conscience. Daniel offers gentle guidance, allowing Kaido to internalize lessons through personal reflection and practice. The dojo becomes a sanctuary of growth, discipline, and moral development. The following day, Kaido begins outdoor training once more, refining agility, observation, and adaptability. Environmental challenges, slopes, obstacles, shifting surfaces, test his ability to maintain balance and composure. Each successful navigation reinforces the fusion of physical skill and ethical awareness. Daniel observes, silently noting that real-world mastery requires flexibility as much as technique. Kaido internalizes lessons of adaptability, patience, and ethical judgment. Sora experiments alongside Kaido, integrating observation, ethical awareness, and adaptive movement. Early hesitation gives way to subtle fluidity, highlighting incremental development. He begins to recognize that obedience-driven mastery is incomplete, and that awareness and conscientious application are critical. Each successful attempt strengthens philosophical insight and technical competence simultaneously. Back in the dojo, Kaido mentors students through sequences emphasizing composure, awareness, and ethical decision-making. Daniel notes with quiet pride the seamless integration of philosophy and movement in both Kaido and his students. Lessons focus on intentionality and reflection, cultivating not only competence but character. Martial arts become a holistic practice, encompassing mind, body, and conscience. Minor conflicts in the city continue to provide practical lessons. Kaido navigates disputes and potential escalations with precision, awareness, and ethical composure. Daniel observes the real-world applications of training, recognizing that mastery is expressed as much through wisdom and judgment as through technical skill. Sora tests his developing understanding, applying restraint and observation in subtle interventions, learning from both success and error. Kaido concludes the day with meditative practice, reviewing interactions, movements, and reflections. Every stance and strike embodies the synthesis of skill, awareness, and ethical insight. Daniel offers occasional guidance, but the focus remains on Kaido's internalization of holistic principles. The dojo, bathed in twilight, serves as both classroom and sanctuary, where philosophy, skill, and conscience intersect seamlessly. Karate Kid, Legends begins another morning with Kaido standing quietly on the dojo floor, sunlight spilling through tall windows, illuminating the polished wood beneath his feet. He inhales deeply, centering mind and body, each breath a meditation that grounds him in awareness and ethical focus. Daniel watches silently, observing the seamless integration of composure, technical precision, and moral discernment. Kaido's movements are deliberate, yet fluid, exploring the boundaries of balance, adaptability, and conscious choice. Today's session emphasizes transition, the art of moving between stances, blocks, and strikes with both grace and intention, ensuring that each motion carries ethical purpose as much as physical function. Stepping into the city streets, Kaido encounters challenges disguised as everyday interactions. A street performer's props topple into a congested area, threatening minor chaos. Calmly, Kaido intervenes, guiding the situation with timing, observation, and ethical composure. Nearby, two vendors argue over a miscounted payment. Kaido's presence diffuses tension without force, demonstrating that martial mastery extends beyond combat to awareness, guidance, and moral influence. Daniel notes silently that these lessons are as valuable as any kata, showing that mastery is a living practice applied in the unpredictability of real life. Sora watches from the shadows, analyzing Kaido's composed interventions with both admiration and doubt. His training under Ryuga Tanaka taught precision, obedience, and control, yet Kaido's calm, ethical, and fluid approach challenges his understanding of mastery. Questions emerge: can skill exist without conscience? Does restraint exceed force in true mastery? Sora experiments tentatively with integrating ethical judgment and adaptive movements into his own practice. Hesitation is frequent, yet each attempt plants seeds of growth, illustrating that transformation arises from reflection, observation, and mindful application. At the dojo, Kaido trains younger students in sequences emphasizing balance, awareness, and ethical decision-making. Each correction focuses not only on physical accuracy but also on observation, intentionality, and moral clarity. Daniel observes quietly, recognizing the ripple effect of mentorship as students learn to integrate philosophy with action. The dojo becomes a living space of holistic growth, where technical skill, ethical insight, and composure develop simultaneously, reflecting the heart of Miyagi-Do philosophy. The city streets continue to provide practical lessons. Kaido intervenes in a minor dispute between pedestrians with fluid precision and calm authority. Observation, timing, and ethical consideration guide each action. Daniel silently affirms that real-world application of martial arts requires awareness, composure, and ethical judgment, highlighting the principle that mastery is lived in daily interactions. Each subtle victory reinforces the integration of skill, reflection, and conscience. Sora experiments with similar interventions, gradually incorporating restraint, observation, and ethical awareness. Early miscalculations provide valuable lessons, while small successes build confidence and insight. Observing Kaido repeatedly, Sora internalizes that true mastery is not only technique but conscious, ethical application, refined through experience, reflection, and careful observation. Evening falls, and Kaido returns to the dojo for meditative practice. Movements flow naturally from one sequence to another, each infused with intentionality, ethical insight, and composure. Daniel offers guidance sparingly, emphasizing that true mastery arises from internalization and reflection rather than instruction alone. The dojo glows softly with evening light, a sanctuary where philosophy, skill, and conscience merge seamlessly. The following morning, Kaido engages in outdoor training on uneven terrain, navigating slopes, rocks, and natural obstacles. Balance, adaptability, and awareness are tested in each stance and motion. Kaido blends precision with fluidity, ensuring each movement embodies both technical skill and ethical awareness. Daniel observes silently, noting that true martial mastery integrates responsiveness, mindfulness, and moral judgment, emphasizing that skill without awareness is incomplete. Sora follows cautiously, attempting to emulate Kaido's fluid integration of awareness and adaptability. Each movement challenges his coordination and judgment. Hesitations and errors occur, but incremental successes strengthen his confidence and philosophical insight. He begins to recognize that obedience alone cannot achieve mastery. Reflection, ethical awareness, and adaptability are essential complements to technical skill. Back at the dojo, Kaido leads students through sequences emphasizing composure, observation, and moral judgment. Daniel watches quietly, noting that Kaido's influence extends beyond physical instruction into ethical and philosophical development. Corrections emphasize intentionality, awareness, and thoughtful response, shaping both skill and character in students. The dojo thrives as a space where philosophy and physical discipline coalesce. The city presents continuous tests. Kaido encounters a verbal confrontation escalating in the marketplace. With calm posture, precise timing, and ethical intervention, he diffuses the situation seamlessly. Daniel observes the real-world integration of training, understanding that mastery is expressed as much in moral composure and awareness as in technical skill. Each intervention becomes a lesson in practical, applied ethics. Sora attempts similar interventions, applying observation, timing, and restraint. Errors occur, yet each misstep provides insight into ethical application, composure, and adaptability. Gradual progress reflects his evolving understanding that mastery is an ongoing integration of philosophy, technique, and reflection, emphasizing learning through both success and failure. Evening returns to the dojo. Kaido engages in fluid sequences, reviewing movements with conscious awareness and ethical intentionality. Each block, strike, and stance carries moral and philosophical significance. Daniel offers minimal guidance, allowing Kaido to internalize lessons through reflection and deliberate practice. The dojo radiates a quiet sense of mastery, blending discipline, philosophy, and ethical insight. The following morning, Kaido ventures into the city to observe subtle human behavior and refine situational awareness. Minor conflicts, tensions between merchants, stumbling pedestrians, spilled merchandise, serve as live tests of composure, judgment, and ethical intervention. Kaido responds fluidly, combining timing, observation, and calm authority. Daniel notes that these practical applications reveal the essence of holistic mastery, integration of skill, philosophy, and ethical conduct. Sora experiments alongside Kaido, integrating restraint, observation, and adaptive response. Minor miscalculations provide lessons, while successes build insight. Each attempt reinforces the narrative's core principle: true mastery blends technical skill with ethical judgment, composure, and reflective awareness. Kaido mentors students in advanced kata, emphasizing intentionality, observation, and ethical application. Daniel watches with quiet pride, noting the seamless integration of philosophy and technique. Students absorb lessons beyond movement, learning that mastery encompasses character, awareness, and composure. The dojo becomes a sanctuary of holistic growth. The city continues to offer lessons in applied mastery. Kaido intervenes in small disputes with precise observation, timing, and ethical intervention. Daniel notes that these scenarios are vital, illustrating that martial arts is lived through every interaction, not just formal practice. Sora applies similar principles cautiously, gradually internalizing lessons of restraint, observation, and adaptability. Kaido concludes the day with meditative practice, reviewing the day's events, sequences, and reflections. Every stance, block, and strike embodies the integration of skill, awareness, and ethical judgment. Daniel provides occasional guidance but allows Kaido's understanding to crystallize through personal reflection. The dojo glows softly as twilight falls, reinforcing the harmony of body, mind, and conscience. Karate Kid, Legends opens a new morning with Kaido standing quietly in the dojo, sunlight spilling through the tall windows, casting warm golden reflections across the polished floor. He breathes deeply, centering himself, each inhalation and exhalation deliberate, a meditation in motion that unites body, mind, and ethical awareness. Daniel observes silently, recognizing the seamless integration of composure, technical mastery, and moral judgment in every gesture. Today, Kaido focuses on fluidity and responsiveness, learning to move between stances and sequences with grace while maintaining full awareness of intention and consequence. Each movement becomes an experiment in balance, precision, and ethical mindfulness. Kaido ventures into the bustling streets of the city, where every minor disturbance becomes a test of observation, timing, and judgment. A child trips near a busy intersection, a crate falls from a vendor's cart, and a heated dispute threatens to escalate. Kaido responds with calm authority, guiding situations with precise timing, careful positioning, and measured speech. Pedestrians glance briefly, sensing a presence of mastery, though unaware of the principles at work. Daniel notes silently that these everyday interventions are just as crucial as formal kata, demonstrating that true martial arts mastery extends into every action, every decision, and every moment of ethical application. Sora watches from a distance, analyzing Kaido's interventions with a mixture of curiosity and internal conflict. His rigid training under Ryuga Tanaka emphasized obedience, precision, and dominance, yet Kaido's approach challenges his assumptions. Questions arise: can skill exist without conscience? Does restraint surpass aggression in true mastery? Tentatively, Sora experiments with restraint, observation, and adaptive movement in his own practice. Hesitations and errors occur, yet each attempt plants seeds of growth, showing that true mastery is achieved through reflection, observation, and conscientious practice. At the dojo, Kaido trains younger students through sequences emphasizing awareness, timing, and ethical judgment. Corrections focus not just on physical precision, but on intentionality, anticipation, and moral clarity. Daniel observes quietly, noting how mentorship ripples across the dojo floor, cultivating not only technique but character and philosophical understanding. The students mirror not only the movements but also the intent, internalizing the integration of skill, awareness, and ethical action. The dojo thrives as a crucible of holistic martial arts development. The city streets continue to present challenges. Kaido intervenes in a minor confrontation between pedestrians, using calm posture, timing, and ethical guidance to prevent escalation. Nearby, merchants argue over a miscounted transaction. Kaido's presence diffuses tension with composure and precision. Daniel observes silently, impressed by the seamless integration of skill, awareness, and ethical judgment in real-world contexts. Each minor intervention reinforces that martial arts mastery extends beyond physical prowess into mindful, ethical, and conscious living. Sora attempts similar interventions, cautiously integrating ethical judgment and adaptive movement. Early missteps highlight the challenges of practical application, while incremental successes provide insight and confidence. Each observation and interaction reinforces his understanding that mastery is a combination of technical skill, reflection, awareness, and conscientious application. Kaido's example demonstrates the power of mentorship through action rather than mere instruction. Evening falls over the dojo, casting warm shadows across the floor. Kaido engages in meditative kata, each movement flowing seamlessly into the next, infused with awareness, ethical judgment, and composure. Daniel offers guidance sparingly, emphasizing that mastery is internalized through reflection and experience. The dojo becomes a sanctuary where philosophy, technique, and conscience converge in harmony, creating a space for holistic growth. The next morning, Kaido embarks on outdoor training, navigating uneven terrain to test adaptability, balance, and observation. Slopes, rocks, and natural obstacles challenge precision and timing, forcing continuous conscious adjustment. Kaido's movements blend fluidity and control, reflecting the fusion of technical mastery and ethical awareness. Daniel watches silently, recognizing that adaptability and reflection are as critical as physical skill in true martial arts practice. Sora shadows Kaido cautiously, attempting to emulate fluidity and ethical awareness. Hesitations are frequent, yet incremental successes reinforce philosophical insight and skill. Observation of Kaido's seamless integration encourages Sora to reconsider the limitations of obedience-based training, fostering growth in awareness, composure, and ethical judgment. Each success strengthens his understanding of martial arts as a holistic pursuit of balance, both internal and external. Back in the dojo, Kaido guides students through sequences that integrate ethical awareness, observation, and composure with physical technique. Daniel observes quietly, noting how philosophy, mentorship, and skill converge on the dojo floor. Students internalize lessons beyond movement, cultivating judgment, patience, and conscious decision-making alongside technical proficiency. The dojo functions as both classroom and sanctuary for holistic growth. The city continues to provide real-world lessons. Kaido navigates a minor dispute among vendors with composure, timing, and ethical intervention. Observers notice only calm authority, unaware of the layers of awareness and judgment behind each action. Daniel notes that applied mastery in daily life is a truer measure of skill than any formal kata. Each encounter reinforces the integration of ethical awareness, observation, and fluid response. Sora experiments cautiously, applying adaptive movement and restraint in real-world situations. Early miscalculations provide lessons, while successful interventions reinforce his growing understanding of mindfulness, ethical application, and composure. Incremental progress highlights the central narrative theme: true mastery integrates technical skill, ethical awareness, and reflective practice. Growth occurs gradually, shaped by observation, experimentation, and reflection. Evening returns to the dojo. Kaido practices advanced sequences, blending fluid technique with ethical awareness and composure. Daniel observes silently, allowing Kaido to internalize lessons through experience and reflection. Each block, strike, and stance is imbued with purpose, demonstrating that martial arts mastery is a balance of skill, observation, and moral clarity. The dojo glows with a sense of harmony and growth. The following morning, Kaido ventures into crowded city streets to refine awareness, adaptability, and applied judgment. Minor incidents, a dropped crate, pedestrian disputes, and small conflicts, serve as live tests of composure and ethical intervention. Kaido responds with precision, awareness, and calm authority, demonstrating that mastery is lived in every moment. Daniel observes silently, reinforcing the value of applied philosophy over rote technique. Sora experiments alongside Kaido, applying restraint, observation, and adaptive movement. Each attempt builds insight, while errors serve as reflective lessons. He begins to internalize the principle that mastery is an ongoing integration of skill, ethical awareness, and observation. Incremental growth in judgment and composure reinforces the narrative's emphasis on mindful application of martial arts beyond the dojo. Kaido mentors students in advanced sequences that emphasize intentionality, ethical judgment, and composure. Daniel observes quietly, noting the seamless integration of philosophy and technical skill. Students absorb lessons beyond movement, learning that martial arts cultivate character, awareness, and ethical responsibility. The dojo functions as a space where philosophy, skill, and conscience develop in unison. The city provides continuous lessons in practical application. Kaido intervenes in minor disputes, employing observation, timing, and ethical intervention to resolve conflicts peacefully. Daniel notes that these real-world applications are more demanding than kata, requiring judgment, composure, and reflection. Sora applies similar principles, internalizing lessons of restraint, observation, and adaptability. Evening training in the dojo emphasizes flow, ethical awareness, and reflection. Kaido moves fluidly through sequences, each gesture imbued with intention. Daniel allows Kaido to internalize lessons independently, reinforcing that mastery is achieved through personal reflection and experience. The dojo becomes a haven for the fusion of skill, philosophy, and moral clarity. Karate Kid, Legends begins a serene morning with Kaido standing alone on the dojo floor, sunlight streaming through the high windows, warming the polished wood beneath his feet. He breathes slowly and deliberately, centering body, mind, and conscience, preparing for a day of practice, observation, and reflection. Daniel watches quietly, recognizing how Kaido's movements now embody not just precision, but awareness, ethical judgment, and composure. Today's focus is the fluid integration of sequences, transitions, and deliberate pauses, where every stance, every strike, and every step carries philosophical meaning as well as physical intent. The morning is still, heavy with anticipation and quiet potential. Stepping into the city, Kaido moves with calm authority, turning minor disturbances into lessons of awareness and reflection. A spilled crate threatens pedestrians, a verbal argument between merchants escalates. Kaido intervenes subtly, timing each step and word, demonstrating that mastery extends beyond physical prowess into observation, ethical intervention, and conscious action. Daniel notes silently that these interactions are the true test of martial arts, the living application of awareness, composure, and moral judgment in unpredictable situations. Sora observes from a distance, analyzing Kaido's interventions, intrigued and unsettled. His training under Ryuga Tanaka emphasized strict obedience and rigid precision, yet Kaido demonstrates a mastery that balances skill, ethical insight, and calm composure. Questions surface in Sora's mind: can power exist without conscience? Does restraint require greater strength than aggression? He experiments tentatively with integrating observation, restraint, and ethical judgment into his movements. Mistakes happen, but each attempt plants seeds of growth, showing that true mastery is a living, reflective practice. Back at the dojo, Kaido trains younger students in sequences emphasizing awareness, balance, and ethical judgment alongside physical technique. Corrections focus on anticipation, observation, and intentional action, not just accuracy of movement. Daniel observes quietly, noting the ripple effect of Kaido's mentorship. Students internalize lessons beyond motion, absorbing the philosophical underpinnings that define Miyagi-Do. The dojo is alive with disciplined energy, a space where character, skill, and conscience develop simultaneously. The city streets offer continuous lessons. Kaido intervenes in minor disputes with calm posture, precise timing, and ethical awareness. Pedestrians sense his authority, though unaware of the depth behind each movement. Daniel silently affirms that real-world application of martial arts is a truer test than kata alone, requiring composure, judgment, and ethical insight in every interaction. Each successful resolution reinforces the integration of skill, awareness, and moral clarity. Sora experiments alongside Kaido, cautiously integrating ethical awareness, observation, and adaptive movement. Early missteps provide lessons, while successes reinforce confidence and philosophical insight. Observing Kaido repeatedly, Sora internalizes that mastery is an ongoing synthesis of skill, awareness, reflection, and conscientious application. Each incremental success builds not only technique but character and judgment. Evening descends over the dojo. Kaido practices fluid kata, blending movement, awareness, and ethical judgment into seamless sequences. Daniel watches quietly, allowing Kaido to internalize lessons through deliberate reflection and repetition. The dojo glows in the soft light of sunset, a sanctuary where philosophy, skill, and moral clarity converge harmoniously, fostering holistic growth. The following morning, Kaido trains outdoors on uneven terrain. Slopes, rocks, and natural obstacles challenge balance, precision, and composure. Each motion requires observation, timing, and ethical consideration. Kaido moves fluidly, integrating technique with awareness, reflecting the fusion of skill, conscience, and adaptability. Daniel observes, noting that real-world mastery depends on the ability to respond thoughtfully to unpredictable circumstances. Sora attempts to emulate Kaido, cautiously applying restraint, observation, and adaptability. Hesitations are frequent, but small successes encourage further exploration. Each attempt strengthens philosophical insight and technical skill, highlighting the narrative's theme that obedience alone cannot define mastery. Ethical judgment, awareness, and reflection are essential complements. Back in the dojo, Kaido mentors students through sequences emphasizing intentionality, observation, and ethical action. Daniel watches silently, noting how the combination of philosophy and skill influences the dojo floor. Corrections emphasize mindfulness, reflection, and composure, teaching that mastery encompasses more than technical accuracy. It is the development of character and awareness in tandem. The city provides ongoing lessons. Kaido intervenes in minor conflicts with calm authority, timing, and ethical consideration, preventing escalation. Daniel observes, affirming that martial arts mastery is demonstrated through composed action and ethical judgment in daily life. Sora applies similar principles cautiously, learning from both success and error, gradually internalizing restraint, observation, and adaptive judgment. Evening returns to the dojo. Kaido practices sequences that blend fluid technique, awareness, and ethical insight. Each movement is deliberate and reflective, integrating lessons from both practice and real-world application. Daniel allows Kaido to internalize these principles through personal reflection, reinforcing the dojo as a space where philosophy, skill, and conscience converge. The following day, Kaido navigates busy streets to refine applied awareness and composure. Minor incidents, a stumble, a spilled cart, a verbal altercation, serve as live tests. Kaido responds with fluid timing, calm authority, and ethical judgment. Daniel notes that real-world application requires the integration of skill, philosophy, and moral clarity in every interaction, highlighting that mastery is a continuous, lived experience. Sora experiments alongside Kaido, applying observation, restraint, and adaptive movement. Hesitations and miscalculations provide reflective lessons, while small successes reinforce philosophical and technical growth. Incremental progress emphasizes that mastery is a living, ongoing process that combines skill, awareness, ethical application, and reflection. Back at the dojo, Kaido mentors students in advanced sequences that emphasize ethical awareness, observation, and composure alongside physical technique. Daniel observes silently, noting the seamless integration of philosophy and martial skill. Students internalize lessons beyond movement, developing character, judgment, and composure. The dojo becomes a sanctuary for holistic martial arts growth. The city continues to challenge Kaido with minor conflicts. He navigates disputes between vendors and pedestrians with calm authority, observation, and ethical intervention. Daniel notes that practical application of martial arts requires as much judgment and moral clarity as technical skill. Sora tests his developing understanding in similar scenarios, internalizing lessons through observation and reflective action. Evening training in the dojo focuses on flow, composure, and ethical integration. Kaido moves seamlessly through sequences, blending fluid technique with mindful awareness. Daniel observes silently, emphasizing that mastery emerges from reflection and practice rather than instruction alone. The dojo radiates a calm, harmonious energy, reflecting the integration of skill, philosophy, and moral clarity. Kaido begins a new series of outdoor exercises, navigating increasingly challenging terrain to refine balance, adaptability, and applied ethical judgment. Observing his surroundings, he adjusts stance, footwork, and technique in real time, integrating philosophy, awareness, and skill. Daniel notes the essential link between environmental adaptation and holistic mastery, teaching that martial arts encompass responsiveness, judgment, and ethical application. Sora continues his parallel practice, cautiously integrating adaptability, ethical awareness, and observation into his movements. Each attempt is a test of judgment, reflection, and composure. Mistakes occur, but they become valuable lessons, illustrating that mastery is a gradual, ongoing integration of skill, philosophy, and conscious action. Karate Kid, Legends begins with Kaido rising before sunrise, standing silently on the dojo floor, letting the first light spill across the polished wood. He breathes deliberately, centering body, mind, and conscience, preparing for a day of reflection, practice, and observation. Daniel watches quietly, seeing the seamless integration of composure, technical mastery, and ethical awareness in every subtle gesture. Today's focus is adaptability, how to shift seamlessly between stances, strikes, and blocks while maintaining mindfulness, moral clarity, and control. Each movement becomes both physical exercise and philosophical meditation, a living embodiment of martial arts as a way of life. Stepping into the city streets, Kaido encounters everyday challenges that test his awareness, timing, and judgment. A pedestrian stumbles near a moving cart, a crate tips over, and a heated argument threatens escalation. Kaido intervenes with calm precision, using measured words and deliberate posture to guide the outcome. Daniel observes silently, noting that these real-world applications of skill are the truest tests of mastery, requiring composure, ethical judgment, and keen observation. Each minor resolution reinforces that martial arts is not only about technique but about conscious, ethical action in the world. Sora watches from the shadows, analyzing Kaido's calm, authoritative interventions. His rigid training under Ryuga Tanaka emphasized obedience and strict control, yet Kaido demonstrates a mastery that balances skill, ethics, and mindfulness. Questions arise: can power exist without conscience? Does restraint require more discipline than aggression? Tentatively, Sora experiments with adaptive movement and ethical awareness in his own practice. Missteps are frequent, but each failure becomes a lesson, emphasizing that true mastery emerges through reflection, observation, and conscientious application. Back at the dojo, Kaido leads younger students in sequences emphasizing balance, awareness, and ethical judgment alongside technical execution. Corrections focus not only on precision but also on intention, observation, and moral clarity. Daniel observes quietly, noting the ripple effect of mentorship across the dojo floor. Students internalize lessons beyond movement, absorbing principles of philosophy, ethics, and mindfulness that define Miyagi-Do. The dojo is alive with disciplined energy, a space where character, skill, and conscience evolve in harmony. The city offers continuous challenges. Kaido intervenes in minor disputes, using calm authority, timing, and ethical guidance to prevent escalation. Pedestrians sense mastery without fully understanding its depth. Daniel silently affirms that applied mastery in daily life tests composure, judgment, and ethical awareness more than formal kata alone. Each intervention reinforces the integration of skill, reflection, and moral clarity. Sora experiments cautiously, integrating restraint, observation, and ethical judgment into his actions. Early miscalculations provide lessons, while incremental successes build confidence and insight. Observing Kaido repeatedly, Sora internalizes that mastery is a combination of technical skill, ethical awareness, and reflective practice. Incremental growth strengthens both skill and character. Evening falls, and Kaido returns to the dojo for meditative practice. Movements flow seamlessly, each strike and stance imbued with ethical intention, awareness, and composure. Daniel observes sparingly, allowing Kaido to internalize lessons through reflection and experience. The dojo glows with a serene energy, a sanctuary where philosophy, skill, and conscience converge. The following morning, Kaido practices outdoors on uneven terrain. Slopes, rocks, and natural obstacles challenge balance, timing, and composure. Kaido blends precision with adaptability, integrating technical mastery with ethical awareness. Daniel observes silently, noting that responsiveness, reflection, and judgment are essential components of holistic mastery. Each successful maneuver reinforces the connection between philosophy, awareness, and physical skill. Sora follows cautiously, attempting to emulate Kaido's integration of fluid movement, observation, and ethical awareness. Hesitations and miscalculations occur, but small successes build insight and confidence. He begins to see that obedience alone cannot define mastery, ethical awareness, reflection, and adaptability are equally critical. Each incremental lesson strengthens both philosophical and physical development. Back in the dojo, Kaido mentors students through sequences emphasizing intentionality, composure, and ethical judgment. Daniel observes quietly, recognizing the seamless integration of philosophy and technique. Corrections emphasize reflection, mindfulness, and observation, teaching that true mastery encompasses both technical skill and character development. The dojo becomes a crucible for holistic growth, where mind, body, and conscience are trained in unison. The city provides ongoing practical lessons. Kaido navigates minor disputes with calm authority, precise timing, and ethical judgment. Daniel notes that applied mastery in everyday life requires observation, composure, and moral awareness as much as physical skill. Sora tests his understanding in similar scenarios, internalizing lessons through reflection and practice. Evening returns to the dojo, and Kaido engages in fluid sequences that integrate technical skill, ethical awareness, and composure. Daniel observes quietly, emphasizing that mastery emerges from experience, reflection, and mindful repetition rather than instruction alone. The dojo radiates calm energy, a harmonious space where skill, philosophy, and conscience converge. Kaido begins outdoor exercises on increasingly challenging terrain to refine adaptability, awareness, and applied ethical judgment. He observes subtle environmental cues, adjusting stance, footwork, and technique in real time. Each movement blends technical skill with reflection, awareness, and composure. Daniel notes that true mastery requires responsiveness, ethical mindfulness, and thoughtful decision-making under pressure. Sora continues his parallel practice, integrating observation, ethical awareness, and adaptability. Hesitation occurs, but incremental successes reinforce philosophical insight and technical competence. Mistakes serve as valuable lessons, illustrating that mastery is a gradual, reflective process, continuously shaped by experience and observation. Back in the dojo, Kaido trains students in sequences emphasizing intentionality, ethical awareness, and composure alongside technical execution. Daniel observes silently, noting how philosophy and skill converge on the dojo floor. Students internalize lessons beyond movement, cultivating judgment, reflection, and composure. The dojo becomes a sanctuary for the harmonious development of mind, body, and conscience. The city presents continuous challenges. Kaido responds to minor disputes among pedestrians with calm authority, precise timing, and ethical guidance. Daniel notes that these interactions test both composure and ethical clarity, demonstrating that mastery is expressed in thoughtful action as much as in technique. Sora applies similar principles, observing and reflecting on outcomes to build incremental understanding. Evening practice in the dojo emphasizes flow, composure, and ethical integration. Kaido moves fluidly through sequences, each gesture intentional, mindful, and philosophically informed. Daniel allows Kaido to internalize lessons independently, highlighting that mastery arises from reflection, observation, and consistent practice. The dojo glows with harmony, embodying the fusion of skill, philosophy, and ethical awareness. The next day, Kaido ventures into the city to refine observation, adaptability, and applied ethical judgment. Minor incidents, a tipped cart, a verbal argument, a pedestrian stumble, serve as live tests. Kaido responds with composure, timing, and moral awareness. Daniel observes silently, reinforcing that mastery is lived, not merely practiced in kata. Each encounter reinforces the fusion of skill, reflection, and ethical application. Sora experiments alongside Kaido, cautiously integrating restraint, observation, and adaptive movement. Minor missteps become reflective lessons, while successful interventions reinforce insight and composure. Incremental progress highlights that mastery is an ongoing synthesis of skill, ethics, and mindfulness, cultivated through experience and reflection. Back at the dojo, Kaido trains students in advanced sequences, emphasizing observation, ethical awareness, and composure. Daniel watches quietly, noting how philosophy and technical skill merge seamlessly. Students internalize lessons beyond movement, cultivating judgment, patience, and awareness. The dojo functions as a sanctuary for holistic martial arts development. The city continues to challenge Kaido. Minor disputes arise between vendors and pedestrians, requiring calm authority, observation, and ethical intervention. Daniel notes that these practical lessons reinforce the application of martial arts in daily life. Sora tests his understanding in similar scenarios, internalizing lessons through observation and reflective practice. Evening returns to the dojo. Kaido engages in fluid sequences blending technical skill with ethical awareness and composure. Daniel observes quietly, emphasizing that mastery is internalized through reflection and deliberate practice rather than instruction alone. The dojo radiates calm energy, representing the integration of philosophy, skill, and conscience. Kaido begins a new series of outdoor exercises on uneven terrain, further refining balance, adaptability, and ethical awareness. Observation, reflection, and composure guide each movement. Daniel notes that mastery encompasses responsiveness, ethical judgment, and awareness as much as technique. Sora continues his parallel practice, integrating reflection and adaptive movement, gradually deepening his understanding of mindful martial arts application. Karate Kid, Legends begins with Kaido rising before sunrise, feeling the crisp morning air through open dojo windows. He breathes slowly, centering mind, body, and conscience, preparing for a day of reflection, training, and observation. Daniel watches silently, noting how Kaido's movements have matured into a balance of precision, composure, and ethical awareness. Today's focus is on synthesis, integrating everything learned, adaptability, reflection, ethical judgment, and technical mastery. Each motion becomes a deliberate expression of both physical skill and moral philosophy. The city streets offer live tests. Kaido notices a minor collision near a busy intersection. He moves calmly, assessing the situation, anticipating reactions, and intervening with timing and ethical composure. Nearby, a dispute between vendors escalates. Kaido diffuses tension with measured words, deliberate positioning, and mindful authority. Daniel observes silently, recognizing that the lessons of the dojo manifest in the world through observation, ethical intervention, and composure. Each encounter reinforces that true mastery is not only physical but also moral and conscious. Sora watches from a distance, fascinated yet conflicted. His prior training emphasized dominance, obedience, and strict precision, but Kaido's approach integrates skill, ethical awareness, and mindful reflection. Questions arise: can restraint surpass aggression? Does mastery demand more than obedience? Tentatively, Sora experiments with adaptive movement, observation, and ethical judgment. Hesitations occur, yet each attempt teaches the importance of reflection, patience, and conscious decision-making. Back in the dojo, Kaido mentors students through complex sequences emphasizing awareness, ethical judgment, and composure. Daniel observes quietly, noting the subtle interplay between philosophy, skill, and character development. Students internalize lessons not only through physical repetition but through reflection and observation, embodying the integration of body, mind, and conscience. The dojo thrives as a sanctuary of holistic martial arts growth. Evening falls, and Kaido practices fluid sequences alone, each movement imbued with intention, awareness, and ethical consideration. Daniel provides guidance sparingly, encouraging internalization through reflection and practice. The dojo glows softly, a serene space where philosophy, skill, and conscience merge. Each stance, strike, and transition embodies lessons learned from both the dojo and the city, emphasizing that mastery is a living, continuous process. The following morning, Kaido embarks on outdoor training, navigating uneven terrain to test adaptability, observation, and composure. Each slope, rock, and obstacle challenges balance, timing, and ethical judgment. Kaido integrates philosophy into every step, every adjustment, creating a seamless connection between physical skill, mindfulness, and moral awareness. Daniel notes that true mastery emerges in the capacity to adapt thoughtfully and ethically to unpredictable circumstances. Sora continues practicing alongside Kaido, cautiously integrating adaptive movement, ethical awareness, and reflection. Hesitations are frequent, but incremental successes reinforce insight and philosophical growth. Observing Kaido repeatedly, Sora internalizes that mastery requires not just skill but conscious ethical application and mindfulness. Each small success strengthens both technical ability and moral understanding. Back in the dojo, Kaido mentors students in sequences emphasizing composure, ethical awareness, and reflective practice. Daniel observes quietly, noting how students absorb lessons beyond motion, developing judgment, patience, and mindfulness. The dojo becomes a living laboratory where philosophy, skill, and conscience evolve together. Each correction reinforces that true mastery integrates reflection, ethical awareness, and technical competence. The city provides continuous tests. Kaido intervenes in minor conflicts with calm authority, timing, and ethical consideration. Pedestrians sense his presence, though unaware of the depth of mindfulness guiding each action. Daniel notes that applied mastery in daily life demonstrates skill as well as ethical judgment. Sora tests his understanding through similar interventions, reflecting on outcomes and internalizing lessons about restraint, observation, and moral clarity. Evening practice emphasizes flow, ethical awareness, and composure. Kaido moves seamlessly through sequences, blending physical skill with mindfulness and moral intention. Daniel allows Kaido to internalize lessons through reflection and experience rather than direct instruction. The dojo glows with calm energy, a place where philosophy, skill, and conscience converge in harmony. The following morning, Kaido ventures into the city to refine applied judgment, adaptability, and composure. Minor disturbances, a stumble, a tipped crate, a verbal dispute, serve as live tests. Kaido responds fluidly, applying awareness, ethical reasoning, and timing. Daniel observes silently, reinforcing that true mastery is lived in every interaction, where reflection, composure, and ethical judgment are as important as technique. Sora experiments alongside Kaido, integrating observation, restraint, and ethical awareness. Errors occur, but each provides a reflective lesson. Successes build confidence, skill, and philosophical understanding. Incremental growth emphasizes that mastery is not a fixed destination but a continual process of synthesis between skill, reflection, and ethical application. Back at the dojo, Kaido mentors students in advanced sequences emphasizing composure, observation, and ethical integration. Daniel observes quietly, noting the seamless combination of philosophy and technical skill. Students internalize lessons beyond movement, developing judgment, mindfulness, and character. The dojo functions as both classroom and sanctuary for holistic martial arts development. The city offers continuous real-world tests. Kaido navigates disputes among vendors and pedestrians with calm authority, observation, and ethical intervention. Daniel notes that these interactions reveal that mastery is expressed not only through physical skill but also through judgment, composure, and moral awareness. Sora internalizes lessons through reflective practice, testing his developing understanding in live scenarios. Evening training in the dojo emphasizes flow, mindfulness, and ethical integration. Kaido moves fluidly through sequences, each motion deliberate and intentional, embodying both skill and reflection. Daniel allows Kaido to internalize lessons independently, reinforcing that mastery arises from practice, reflection, and observation. The dojo radiates calm energy, a space where philosophy, skill, and conscience merge seamlessly. Kaido begins outdoor exercises on challenging terrain, refining balance, adaptability, and ethical judgment. Each movement is responsive, aware, and morally considered. Daniel observes, noting that true mastery depends as much on ethical awareness and reflection as on physical technique. Sora continues practicing, gradually integrating observation, adaptability, and ethical judgment into each motion. Back in the dojo, Kaido guides students through sequences emphasizing composure, mindfulness, and moral clarity alongside technical precision. Daniel observes silently, noting how the integration of philosophy and skill enriches every interaction. Students internalize lessons beyond movement, developing judgment, patience, and ethical awareness. The dojo serves as a crucible for holistic martial arts growth. The city presents ongoing challenges. Kaido addresses minor disputes with calm authority and reflective judgment. Each intervention demonstrates that mastery is applied in life, not only in practice. Sora applies similar principles cautiously, internalizing lessons through reflection, observation, and ethical application. Evening returns to the dojo. Kaido engages in fluid sequences, blending skill, awareness, and moral reflection. Daniel observes quietly, emphasizing that mastery is internalized through reflective practice rather than instruction alone. The dojo exudes serenity, embodying the union of philosophy, technical skill, and ethical awareness. Kaido embarks on a final series of outdoor exercises, testing adaptability, composure, and ethical application. Observing his surroundings, he adjusts stance, technique, and timing in real time. Each movement blends physical skill, reflection, and moral awareness. Daniel notes the culmination of training, the seamless integration of body, mind, and conscience. Sora follows, cautiously applying adaptive movement, reflection, and ethical awareness. Incremental successes build confidence and philosophical insight. Mistakes offer lessons in restraint and composure. Each interaction reinforces that true mastery is ongoing, reflective, and integrated. Back at the dojo, Kaido mentors students in complex sequences, emphasizing composure, mindfulness, and ethical judgment. Daniel observes quietly, noting the integration of philosophy and skill. Students internalize lessons beyond movement, cultivating character, awareness, and ethical judgment. The dojo becomes a sanctuary for holistic growth, reflecting the culmination of all lessons learned. The final city tests arrive. Kaido encounters minor conflicts, resolving them with calm authority, observation, and ethical intervention. Daniel observes, recognizing that mastery is fully expressed in action, reflection, and conscientious choice. Sora applies his accumulated understanding in real-world scenarios, integrating observation, restraint, and ethical application seamlessly. Evening practice in the dojo becomes meditative, flowing sequences embodying skill, awareness, and ethical clarity. Kaido moves deliberately, each gesture a reflection of all he has learned. Daniel allows Kaido and students to internalize these lessons independently, reinforcing the lifelong, ongoing nature of mastery. The dojo radiates harmony, reflecting the integration of skill, reflection, and ethical awareness. The story concludes with Kaido standing quietly on the dojo floor at sunset, sunlight glinting off polished wood. Daniel nods, acknowledging Kaido's mastery of not only technique but reflection, ethical awareness, and composure. Sora observes from a distance, transformed by observation and practice, understanding that true mastery is holistic, integrating body, mind, and conscience in everyday life. The city hums outside, yet inside the dojo, a serene energy embodies the culmination of training, philosophy, and conscious living. Karate Kid, Legends begins another morning with Kaido standing quietly on the dojo floor, sunlight spilling through tall windows, illuminating the polished wood beneath his feet. He inhales deeply, centering mind and body, each breath a meditation that grounds him in awareness and ethical focus. Daniel watches silently, observing the seamless integration of composure, technical precision, and moral discernment. Kaido's movements are deliberate, yet fluid, exploring the boundaries of balance, adaptability, and conscious choice. Today's session emphasizes transition, the art of moving between stances, blocks, and strikes with both grace and intention, ensuring that each motion carries ethical purpose as much as physical function. Stepping into the city streets, Kaido encounters challenges disguised as everyday interactions. A street performer's props topple into a congested area, threatening minor chaos. Calmly, Kaido intervenes, guiding the situation with timing, observation, and ethical composure. Nearby, two vendors argue over a miscounted payment. Kaido's presence diffuses tension without force, demonstrating that martial mastery extends beyond combat to awareness, guidance, and moral influence. Daniel notes silently that these lessons are as valuable as any kata, showing that mastery is a living practice applied in the unpredictability of real life. Sora watches from the shadows, analyzing Kaido's composed interventions with both admiration and doubt. His training under Ryuga Tanaka taught precision, obedience, and control, yet Kaido's calm, ethical, and fluid approach challenges his understanding of mastery. Questions emerge: can skill exist without conscience? Does restraint exceed force in true mastery? Sora experiments tentatively with integrating ethical judgment and adaptive movements into his own practice. Hesitation is frequent, yet each attempt plants seeds of growth, illustrating that transformation arises from reflection, observation, and mindful application. At the dojo, Kaido trains younger students in sequences emphasizing balance, awareness, and ethical decision-making. Each correction focuses not only on physical accuracy but also on observation, intentionality, and moral clarity. Daniel observes quietly, recognizing the ripple effect of mentorship as students learn to integrate philosophy with action. The dojo becomes a living space of holistic growth, where technical skill, ethical insight, and composure develop simultaneously, reflecting the heart of Miyagi-Do philosophy. The city streets continue to provide practical lessons. Kaido intervenes in a minor dispute between pedestrians with fluid precision and calm authority. Observation, timing, and ethical consideration guide each action. Daniel silently affirms that real-world application of martial arts requires awareness, composure, and ethical judgment, highlighting the principle that mastery is lived in daily interactions. Each subtle victory reinforces the integration of skill, reflection, and conscience. Sora experiments with similar interventions, gradually incorporating restraint, observation, and ethical awareness. Early miscalculations provide valuable lessons, while small successes build confidence and insight. He begins to recognize that true mastery is not only technique but conscious, ethical application, refined through experience, reflection, and careful observation. Evening falls, and Kaido returns to the dojo for meditative practice. Movements flow naturally from one sequence to another, each infused with intentionality, ethical insight, and composure. Daniel offers guidance sparingly, emphasizing that true mastery arises from internalization and reflection rather than instruction alone. The dojo glows softly with evening light, a sanctuary where philosophy, skill, and conscience merge seamlessly. The following morning, Kaido engages in outdoor training on uneven terrain, navigating slopes, rocks, and natural obstacles. Balance, adaptability, and awareness are tested in each stance and motion. Kaido blends precision with fluidity, ensuring each movement embodies both technical skill and ethical awareness. Daniel observes silently, noting that true martial mastery integrates responsiveness, mindfulness, and moral judgment, emphasizing that skill without awareness is incomplete. Sora shadows Kaido cautiously, attempting to emulate his fluid integration of awareness and adaptability. Each movement challenges his coordination and judgment. Hesitations and errors occur, but incremental successes strengthen his confidence and philosophical insight. He begins to recognize that obedience alone cannot achieve mastery. Reflection, ethical awareness, and adaptability are essential complements to technical skill. Back at the dojo, Kaido leads students through sequences emphasizing composure, observation, and moral judgment. Daniel watches quietly, noting that Kaido's influence extends beyond physical instruction into ethical and philosophical development. Corrections emphasize intentionality, awareness, and thoughtful response, shaping both skill and character in students. The dojo thrives as a space where philosophy and physical discipline coalesce. The city continues to offer lessons in applied mastery. Kaido intervenes in a verbal confrontation escalating in the marketplace. With calm posture, precise timing, and ethical intervention, he diffuses the situation seamlessly. Daniel observes the real-world integration of training, understanding that mastery is expressed as much in moral composure and awareness as in technical skill. Each intervention becomes a lesson in practical, applied ethics. Sora attempts similar interventions, applying observation, timing, and restraint. Early miscalculations provide lessons, while small successes reinforce his growing understanding that mindfulness, ethical application, and composure are as essential as technical skill. Gradual progress reflects his evolving understanding that mastery is an ongoing integration of philosophy, technique, and reflection. Evening returns to the dojo. Kaido engages in fluid sequences, reviewing movements with conscious awareness and ethical intentionality. Each block, strike, and stance carries moral and philosophical significance. Daniel provides occasional guidance but allows Kaido's understanding to crystallize through personal reflection. The dojo glows softly as twilight falls, reinforcing the harmony of body, mind, and conscience. Kaido embarks on a series of city interactions, responding to minor conflicts with calm authority and ethical composure. Pedestrians notice his presence without fully understanding the principles at work. Daniel notes that these experiences are crucial, highlighting that true mastery integrates skill, reflection, and ethical judgment into every action. Sora observes and experiments cautiously, gradually internalizing lessons about restraint, observation, and adaptability. Back in the dojo, Kaido trains students through advanced sequences emphasizing intentionality, observation, and ethical application. Daniel observes quietly, noting the seamless integration of philosophy and technique. Students internalize lessons beyond movement, learning that mastery encompasses character, awareness, and composure. The dojo functions as a sanctuary for holistic growth, where mind, body, and conscience are honed together. The city provides continuous challenges. Kaido addresses minor disputes among vendors and pedestrians, using calm authority, observation, and ethical guidance. Daniel notes that these practical applications reveal that true mastery is demonstrated in daily interactions, not merely through formal practice. Sora tests his growing understanding in real-world scenarios, integrating reflection, ethical awareness, and adaptive movement. Evening practice in the dojo emphasizes flow, ethical awareness, and composure. Kaido moves seamlessly through sequences, blending physical skill with mindful judgment. Daniel allows Kaido to internalize lessons through reflection, highlighting that mastery emerges from practice, observation, and ethical integration. The dojo radiates harmony, embodying the union of philosophy, skill, and conscience. The story continues with Kaido training outdoors on increasingly challenging terrain, refining balance, adaptability, and applied ethical judgment. Sora follows, integrating observation, reflection, and composure into his movements. Each success strengthens philosophical insight and technical skill, while errors become lessons in restraint, patience, and thoughtful application. Both mentor and student demonstrate that mastery is not a destination but a continuous, evolving practice. In the dojo, Kaido guides students through sequences emphasizing composure, mindfulness, and ethical judgment alongside technical execution. Daniel observes silently, noting how the integration of philosophy and skill enriches students' understanding. The dojo becomes a sanctuary for holistic martial arts development, where reflection, observation, and ethical awareness develop alongside technique. Kaido and Sora face final city tests, navigating disputes and challenges with calm authority, timing, and ethical awareness. Daniel notes that these scenarios reveal the culmination of training, mastery expressed as composed action, ethical judgment, and reflective awareness in the world. Incremental victories demonstrate that martial arts are both a practical skill and a living philosophy. The final dojo sessions blend reflection, advanced sequences, and meditative practice. Kaido moves fluidly, each stance, block, and strike imbued with ethical intention, awareness, and composure. Daniel observes quietly, allowing lessons to internalize through experience rather than instruction. The dojo radiates a serene energy, representing the integration of skill, philosophy, and conscience. The story concludes with Kaido standing silently on the dojo floor at sunset, the polished wood reflecting golden light. Daniel nods in acknowledgement, recognizing mastery not only in technique but in reflection, ethical awareness, and composure. Sora observes, transformed by observation, practice, and reflection, understanding that true mastery integrates body, mind, and conscience into every action of daily life. Outside, the city hums with life, yet inside the dojo, a calm energy embodies the culmination of all lessons learned, a living testament to discipline, mentorship, philosophy, and the ongoing journey of mastery. Karate Kid, Legends begins a quiet dawn with Kaido standing at the edge of the dojo floor, his silhouette framed by the soft glow of early sunlight. He inhales slowly, letting the calm settle into every fiber of his being. Today's training focuses on anticipation, the art of sensing movement before it unfolds, blending instinct, observation, and ethical judgment into each motion. Daniel watches silently, knowing that the smallest detail, an eye movement, a shift in weight, can reveal far more than any kata, teaching Kaido how mastery is as much about perception as execution. Kaido moves through the city streets with deliberate awareness, noticing subtle tensions in the air. A child stumbles near a crowded marketplace, a crate tips perilously from a cart, and merchants' voices rise in frustration. Without haste, Kaido intervenes, guiding each situation with calm authority, precise positioning, and ethical clarity. Pedestrians notice only the grace and composure of his actions, unaware of the layered philosophy underpinning them. Daniel observes silently, understanding that these moments are as instructive as the lessons within the dojo, revealing the practical depth of martial mastery. Sora lingers in the shadows, absorbing Kaido's movements with a mixture of curiosity and unease. His former training emphasized dominance, control, and rigid obedience, yet Kaido exemplifies a mastery that merges technique, mindfulness, and ethical judgment. Questions churn within him: can true strength exist without restraint? Does understanding precede power? Hesitantly, Sora begins experimenting with restraint and observation, testing how reflection and adaptive response can enhance both skill and conscience. Errors are inevitable, yet each misstep becomes a seed of transformation, teaching the value of conscious, thoughtful practice. Back in the dojo, Kaido instructs a group of students, emphasizing balance, awareness, and ethical integration with every motion. Corrections extend beyond mere posture, focusing on the harmony of intent, timing, and reflective decision-making. Daniel observes quietly, noting the subtle ways Kaido imparts not only skill but judgment and moral clarity. The dojo hums with quiet energy, a living laboratory where students internalize lessons of character alongside physical mastery, understanding that each action carries philosophical weight. The city offers continuous tests of observation and composure. Kaido intervenes in minor disputes among vendors and pedestrians, employing timing, calm authority, and measured words to diffuse tension. Each situation reinforces that mastery exists in awareness and ethical application as much as in technical skill. Daniel observes silently, appreciating the seamless integration of philosophy and practice. Sora attempts similar interventions, applying observation, restraint, and adaptive movement. Early errors teach him patience, while incremental successes demonstrate that true mastery arises from reflection, awareness, and conscience. Evening returns to the dojo, casting long shadows across the polished floor. Kaido moves through sequences with fluid precision, each strike, block, and stance infused with ethical awareness and mindfulness. Daniel allows Kaido to internalize lessons through reflection, understanding that guidance is most powerful when internalized, not imposed. The dojo radiates a calm energy, a space where the integration of philosophy, skill, and conscience manifests as harmony in motion. The following morning, Kaido practices outdoors on uneven terrain, where every slope and rock challenges balance, timing, and adaptability. Each movement becomes a meditation on responsiveness, observation, and ethical judgment. Daniel notes that mastery extends beyond technique; it requires thoughtful, conscious interaction with the world. Kaido's movements flow seamlessly, integrating reflection, ethical awareness, and technical skill, demonstrating that martial arts is a living philosophy. Sora observes and attempts similar adaptations, cautiously blending observation, restraint, and ethical awareness with movement. Mistakes are frequent but instructive, each failure offering insight into the subtle interplay of skill, conscience, and mindfulness. Gradually, he begins to internalize the principle that mastery is not a destination but an evolving synthesis of observation, reflection, and ethical application, strengthened through practice and lived experience. Back in the dojo, Kaido guides students through advanced sequences emphasizing intentionality, awareness, and moral clarity. Daniel watches silently, appreciating the way each correction reinforces the philosophical as well as technical aspects of martial arts. Students absorb lessons beyond movement, learning to balance composure, reflection, and ethical judgment alongside precision and timing. The dojo becomes a sanctuary for holistic development, where mind, body, and conscience converge in every action. The city provides new lessons in applied mastery. Kaido encounters minor conflicts and responds with measured authority, observation, and ethical judgment. Each interaction reinforces the fusion of skill, reflection, and conscience in everyday life. Daniel observes, noting that these practical applications reveal the depth of training and philosophy. Sora tests his understanding through similar real-world interactions, integrating observation, restraint, and adaptive ethical response into his growing practice. Evening brings meditative sequences in the dojo. Kaido moves with seamless fluidity, blending technique, mindfulness, and ethical awareness into each motion. Daniel allows him to internalize lessons through reflection, emphasizing that mastery emerges from experience, observation, and deliberate practice rather than instruction alone. The dojo glows with serenity, a testament to the integration of skill, philosophy, and conscience. Kaido embarks on a final set of outdoor exercises, navigating increasingly complex terrain to test adaptability, balance, and ethical judgment. Every step is conscious, each adjustment a reflection of both skill and moral awareness. Daniel observes, noting that mastery requires responsiveness, composure, and ethical clarity in every interaction. Sora follows, cautiously integrating reflection, adaptive movement, and ethical awareness, gradually synthesizing lessons into holistic understanding. Back in the dojo, Kaido instructs students in sequences that merge composure, observation, and moral clarity with technical skill. Daniel observes silently, recognizing the transformative power of holistic martial arts. Students internalize lessons beyond movement, developing judgment, patience, and ethical awareness alongside precision. The dojo functions as both a classroom and sanctuary, nurturing the integration of philosophy, skill, and conscience. The final city challenges arrive. Kaido navigates minor conflicts, employing calm authority, observation, and ethical intervention. Each resolution demonstrates that mastery is expressed in thoughtful, reflective action as much as in technical ability. Sora applies his accumulated understanding, integrating observation, ethical awareness, and adaptive movement seamlessly. Each successful interaction reinforces the principle that true mastery encompasses body, mind, and conscience in harmony. Evening practice solidifies reflection, composure, and ethical integration. Kaido moves through sequences fluidly, each motion intentional and mindful. Daniel allows the lessons to internalize, highlighting that mastery is a continuous journey of reflection, application, and philosophical awareness. The dojo exudes serenity, embodying the culmination of training, mentorship, and personal growth. The story concludes with Kaido standing silently on the dojo floor at sunset, sunlight glinting off polished wood. Daniel nods in acknowledgement, recognizing mastery not only in technique but in reflection, ethical awareness, and composure. Sora observes, transformed by practice, observation, and reflection, understanding that true mastery integrates body, mind, and conscience into everyday life. Outside, the city hums, yet inside the dojo, a calm energy represents the culmination of all lessons learned, a living testament to discipline, philosophy, and the ongoing journey of mastery. Karate Kid, Legends begins a cool morning with Kaido walking slowly along the dojo's wooden floor, letting each footfall remind him of balance and intention. Sunlight filters through the windows, casting long lines of gold that reflect his measured movements. Today, his practice focuses on patience, how to hold a stance with calm awareness, how to move deliberately without rushing, how to sense the rhythm of both body and environment. Daniel observes quietly, noting that mastery emerges not only from repetition but from reflection, awareness, and the integration of mind, body, and conscience. Kaido steps into the bustling streets, where everyday life offers continuous lessons. A cart tilts dangerously, a passerby nearly loses their footing, and a merchant's tone sharpens in frustration. Kaido intervenes calmly, placing himself between the elements of chaos with subtle gestures, measured words, and ethical clarity. Pedestrians sense his composed authority, even if they do not understand its depth. Daniel watches silently, recognizing that martial arts extend beyond technique into conscious, ethical intervention, where each movement becomes a tool of both defense and moral guidance. Sora lingers nearby, conflicted and fascinated. His previous training emphasized dominance, control, and rigid obedience, yet Kaido exemplifies a mastery that blends skill, mindfulness, and ethical awareness. Questions swirl in Sora's mind: can restraint surpass aggression? Does conscious reflection enhance true power? Tentatively, Sora begins to experiment with adaptive movements, ethical observation, and restraint. Each mistake teaches humility, while each success reinforces the principle that mastery is not static but an evolving integration of skill, reflection, and conscientious action. Back at the dojo, Kaido mentors students through sequences that emphasize intentionality, observation, and ethical awareness alongside precise technique. Corrections are subtle, focusing not only on posture but on timing, anticipation, and reflection. Daniel watches silently, seeing the ripple effect of mentorship as students absorb lessons beyond physical movement. The dojo thrives as a living environment where character, judgment, and technical skill develop in tandem, illustrating that mastery encompasses much more than muscle memory. The city offers ongoing challenges, testing composure and observation. Kaido intervenes in minor disputes with calm authority, precise timing, and ethical judgment. Each encounter reinforces that mastery is a practical philosophy as much as a physical skill. Daniel observes the integration of reflection, ethical action, and movement in real time. Sora experiments alongside him, gradually weaving restraint, observation, and adaptive action into his own responses. Successes build confidence, while errors become lessons in patience and awareness. Evening falls over the dojo, and Kaido practices flowing sequences, each movement a meditation in awareness, composure, and ethical reflection. Daniel allows him to internalize lessons independently, emphasizing that mastery comes from reflection and experience rather than instruction alone. The dojo glows in the fading light, a sanctuary where philosophy, skill, and conscience converge, demonstrating that martial arts are a living, evolving practice. The following morning, Kaido trains outdoors on uneven terrain, where rocks, slopes, and obstacles challenge balance, timing, and adaptability. Every motion requires observation, conscious adjustment, and ethical consideration. Daniel notes that mastery is not merely about flawless execution but about responsiveness, reflection, and ethical engagement with the environment. Kaido moves fluidly, integrating body, mind, and conscience into each step and stance, illustrating the holistic nature of martial arts. Sora attempts to emulate Kaido, cautiously applying observation, restraint, and ethical awareness to each movement. Hesitations and missteps occur, yet each teaches valuable lessons in patience, timing, and reflection. Small successes reinforce his growing understanding that mastery requires a fusion of technical skill, conscious awareness, and ethical judgment. He begins to internalize the principle that true martial arts mastery is a continuous process of learning, adapting, and integrating reflection with action. Back in the dojo, Kaido guides students through sequences emphasizing composure, ethical awareness, and reflective practice. Daniel observes silently, noting the subtle way philosophy merges with technical skill. Students internalize lessons beyond motion, cultivating patience, judgment, and ethical clarity. The dojo becomes a sanctuary for holistic development, where body, mind, and conscience are trained together, preparing students not only for physical challenges but for moral and reflective life challenges as well. The city presents ongoing, practical lessons. Kaido navigates disputes and minor accidents with calm authority, timing, and ethical intervention. Pedestrians sense his composure, unaware of the philosophy underlying each motion. Daniel observes silently, noting that real-world application reveals the true integration of skill, reflection, and conscience. Sora tests his developing understanding, applying observation, restraint, and ethical judgment in similar scenarios, learning the delicate balance of action, reflection, and responsibility. Evening training emphasizes flow, mindfulness, and ethical integration. Kaido moves seamlessly through sequences, each block, strike, and stance intentional, reflecting both technical skill and conscious ethical awareness. Daniel allows Kaido to internalize these lessons through personal reflection, reinforcing that mastery is not imposed but cultivated through continuous practice, observation, and conscientious awareness. The dojo hums with calm energy, a testament to the harmonious blending of skill, philosophy, and conscience. Kaito undertakes a new series of outdoor exercises, navigating increasingly difficult terrain to test adaptability, balance, and applied ethical judgment. Each movement is measured and deliberate, guided by observation, reflection, and moral awareness. Daniel observes the culmination of training, seeing how responsiveness, composure, and ethical clarity define true mastery. Sora follows, cautiously integrating reflection, ethical awareness, and adaptive movement, gradually synthesizing philosophy and technique into holistic understanding. Back in the dojo, Kaito instructs students through sequences that merge composure, ethical judgment, and observation with technical precision. Daniel observes silently, recognizing how the integration of philosophy and skill enriches each interaction. Students internalize lessons beyond movement, developing awareness, patience, and moral discernment alongside physical skill. The dojo thrives as both a classroom and sanctuary for the integration of body, mind, and conscience. The city delivers final tests of applied mastery. Kaito navigates conflicts and tense situations with calm authority, precise timing, and ethical reflection. Each resolution demonstrates that mastery is expressed not only through technique but through observation, restraint, and moral judgment. Sora applies accumulated lessons, blending observation, reflection, and ethical responsiveness, realizing that mastery is a living, ongoing practice that exists both in training and daily life. Evening brings meditative dojo practice. Kaito moves fluidly, each motion intentional, reflective, and infused with ethical clarity. Daniel allows the lessons to internalize, emphasizing that mastery arises from experience, observation, and continual reflection rather than from instruction alone. The dojo radiates serenity, representing the culmination of discipline, mentorship, and personal growth. The final moments of the story find Kaito standing quietly on the dojo floor at sunset, golden light reflecting from polished wood. Daniel nods in acknowledgement, recognizing mastery not only in technical execution but in ethical awareness, composure, and reflection. Sora observes, transformed through practice, reflection, and observation, understanding that true mastery integrates body, mind, and conscience in everyday life. Outside, the city hums with movement, yet inside the dojo, a calm energy embodies the lessons learned and the living philosophy of martial arts.